Hey everybody, David here with T&D Sports Cards. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we are going to open a few packs of 1978 OPC Baseball. We've done a couple of packs on the channel. We actually did a way back for 1978 sometime in the summer last year. I want to say it was like late July, maybe early August, and we were fortunate enough to pull this really nice Eddie Murray card that we have on display here. That is the gem of the set. When I was actually opening these packs, I started thinking, and I might have thought a little out loud about how, this is not a very big set. It's only about 242 cards, I think is the exact number. And I thought, maybe, I'd start maybe working my way towards putting a set together. So why not? These cards are great. It's a design that I've always enjoyed, and there's lots of big names in it. So why don't we open some packs and try to keep working our way towards that set. Not that I'm anywhere close, but at least we can get a little bit closer now. So with that, let's open these up and see what we can find. As I mentioned, there are lots of big names in this, lots of Hall of Famers. The one thing that the OPC does omit, though, is, and I mentioned this on a previous video, they do not have, or this set does not have the 4-panel rookie cards, like where you could find the Paul Molitor and the Jack Morris. So we will not be finding any of those. And that's what the gum looks like, at least in this pack. And I thought we had a checklist on the back that looks like some kind of a leader's card. Oh, we got at least one Hall of Famer here already, so that's a good start. So we have a Don Baylor, and I can see already these cards have the classic OPC rough cut on them, on 3 of the 4 sides on the Baylor here. Baylor had a very good career. I would say borderline great. I mean, he really was a big-time hitter. And, he's somebody who really could be considered for the Hall of Fame, I would think. I would imagine his time is probably past, at least for regular induction. But that's a nice card. And we have a Rick Rhoden, who played most of his career with the Pirates, at least the time that I remember being. This was very early on in his career, obviously. And these cards all appear to be a bit off. The right side seems to be a lot thicker. So we have Jerry Morales, Eric Soderholm, Larvel Blanks, and this was the leader card. It's actually a nice card. It's and again, it's off, well, if you look at it this way, it's off left to right, much thicker on the right, but looking at it this way, top to bottom, and it does feature Hall of Famer Jim Rice, along with, of course, George Foster. I don't think 76 was the year that he hit, it was the year that he hit, I'm sorry, 77 was the year he hit 52 home runs. For some reason, I was thinking 77, as in this was a 77 card, but yeah, he hit 52 home runs. So that was obviously a big year for him. And we have Hall of Famer Don Sutton here. And oh, we got another Hall of Famer on the back there. That's nice. He pitched a very long time. Very long time. And of course we have Tom Seaver here, which is super nice. Being a Mets fan, even though he's in the wrong uniform here. That is a very nice find there. I think I will sleeve him up, not to discount any of the others that we found. Hopefully it'll stay up. Yeah, not too bad. And we have Steve Stone, who a couple of years later would win the American League Cy Young Award in 1980. He had a tremendous season that year. I think he won 25 games. And he was a pretty good pitcher going through the late 70s. After he won that Cy Young, I think he threw over 300 innings that year. He didn't really do too much after that. I want to say by 83 he was retired. And our last card, which another thing that I've mentioned is that these the OPC baseball sets tend to have a bit more focus on the Canadian teams, as did the Leaf sets of the 80s for baseball. All right, so that was a pretty good pack. We found quite a few big names in there. And this looks like a Phil Garner on the bottom here. And this gum stayed in one piece. And some of it was left behind on our Yes Canadian team checklist there, so I guess we'll check that out towards the end. And these are continuing to be miscut the same way. All right, so as we mentioned, we have Phil Garner here, which this is an interesting picture because they are wearing what looks to be what would have been one of their versions of the home uniform. I know the Pirates had so many different combinations of uniforms that they wore throughout the 70s into the early 80s. I mentioned this is more interesting because it's this picture is taken at Shea Stadium. So it's kind of odd that they would be wearing white pinstripes on the road, but who knows what the circumstances were there. And we have a Blue Jay here, Pete Vukovich. And we have Jim Rice's regular card coming up after this. Pete Vukovich had a nice career. It's kind of odd seeing him there without all that that gruff. And yes, this is Jim Rice's, I guess this would be like a fourth-year card for him, more than likely. And this card is very off-center, like extremely off-center. And we have another leaders card here featuring George Foster and Larry Heisel. This is runs batted in leaders. 149 is a lot of runs batted in, as is 130 for Greg Luzinski. That's pretty incredible years. And we have an all-star card of Rick Burleson. He was a pretty good player. Back when shortstops were really not counted on to have major offensive production, they were more the generals in the infield, and they were usually very, very short-handed. Bob Boone, another one who had a tremendous career. He could be argued as borderline Hall of Fame too. Oh, I thought for a second that was like paper loss there, but I guess it's just kind of a fade in the printing. And we have an O-Pee-Chee Classic here, now with the New York Yankees as of 12/8/77. Andy Messersmith. I don't remember him playing for the Yankees for terribly long. This card's actually a little better centered than most of the other ones we found. And we have a Dan Dreesen, who was a solid player. Had some big years for the Reds, especially going into the early 80s. We have another Hall of Famer here with Bert Blyleven, and this card is really showing off the rough cut. All over. Yeah, this card looks like almost like it was cut with like jagged scissors or something. That's kind of crazy, but that's cool. And again, another one with now with Pittsburgh as of 12/8/77. He went on to win the World Series with them in 1979. And here is the Expos team card that we spotted when we first opened the pack. And this one, again, you can see is incredibly miscut with very, very rough edges. But that's cool. Trying to see if I can spot Gary Carter here. I'm not sure if that's him up there. No, he's right here, sorry. Found him. I was thinking that might be Tim Wallach up there, but that might be a little too early for him to be on the Expos. Nice card. All right, so a couple more nice ones in there. And it looks like this one, we found that same leaders card again. Hopefully the whole pack isn't the same. No, we got a Hall of Famer on the back there that we haven't seen yet. Okie doke, so again, this is that same leaders card we found in the previous pack. And we have a Fred Lynn. That's kind of odd. We have these, like, some of the same cards here. Another Bob Boone. But again, as I've mentioned in plenty of previous videos, the collation back then didn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. And this one, again, is showing off a lot of the rough cut. So we have another Bob Boone. And we have a J.R. Richard, who was really just an unbelievable pitcher from starting, like, yeah, right around this time into, well, 1980, when he unfortunately had a stroke in the middle of the season right after the All-Star break. And that was pretty much it for him. I know he tried to come back. It was just never the same. He pitched in the minor leagues for several seasons, off and on, but just never really got it together. That was a shame. Really was a shame. And I know he passed, I want to say, within like the last year or so. But, man, was he something to watch. And we have another Dan Dreesen. And this is one we haven't seen. Gary Matthews. This card's actually centered decently with continued rough edges. It's funny, we have like a mix of some of the same cards from the previous pack get mixed up with other cards that we haven't seen. So another badly miscut Expos team card. We have a Len Randall card that I believe I have talked about in the past when I was a kid. I always thought this was kind of cool because it looked like he had no hand as he was like reaching for the bag there. But I was young. What do you want? And we have batting leaders thing here, batting leaders card here with Dave Parker and Rod Carew. Dave Parker probably should be in the Hall of Fame. I have mentioned that more than once before. And, of course, Rod Carew is in the Hall of Fame. And this last card is of a Hall of Famer, and Jim Hunter. This card is, again, very, very off-center. But nonetheless, this is a pretty nice card. I remember as a kid getting these Yankee cards in the Burger King packs. I honestly don't remember specifically if Jim Hunter was a part of that. I do remember always wanting to get Thurman Munson and Reggie Jackson just because they were like the two really, really big stars at that point in time. But you know, the Yankees always had lots of stars. And of course, that was a time period where free agency was just starting to become prevalent in Major League Baseball. And Jim Hunter was one of the first guys that took advantage of that. And then, of course, Reggie Jackson was the first one with the really, really big contract. You know, we found lots of really nice cards here. You know, it's unfortunate that a lot of them are miscut, but I think you find that with the OPC, it's very difficult to find centered cards. I mean, like finding the Eddie Murray, just the condition that it's in. I mean, you know, you can sort of see the rough cut on it, but it's not that prevalent. And this card is actually pretty well centered for an OPC card. But this was a lot of fun. I guess I made it a little bit closer to putting my set together. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I certainly plan to do more of these in the future, so I guess stay tuned for that, although we'll probably wait a little bit before we open some more. But if you're new to the channel, please please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you come along, and obviously we'd love the support. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you soon with our next new video. Take care.